Well, the weeks of leaks and rumors about the Switch 2 have finally time to be settled because the Switch 2 was finally announced, guys. We have our first look trailer here, and I love the comments in this video because so many people are just like so whelmed, I guess is the way to put it. Like some of the top comments on here are just like, Nintendo, we know you know, now just take that teaser and leave us alone. Never has it been so much, okay, fine, here's an announcement energy. So what's leaving people so whelmed about this trailer? Well, let's check it out and then we'll break it all down. First of all, yeah, there's no audio, which there's still no audio. Is there any audio? Oh, there it is. It's still really quiet. It feels like this is like the sound effect. This feels like the editor forgot to put the music in here. Okay, yeah, we got the ports on the bottom, volume controls, sound controls on the top. This is another thing, a new kickstand that's coming with it. That's pretty cool. Leaning back that far, somebody's going to break it. The new controllers. Stick drift was a big issue with the previous Switch, so see if they remedy that. I don't really know what else. This is like such a subtle reveal, I guess is the way to put it. Like, look at that. They're really going in to showcase the details on this. I think really just because it's like, it's another Switch. So how do you really like improve on that, you know? This is my biggest concern right here. The connecting ports. Like how's that not gonna break? 2. The Switch 2. Yeah, we figured it would be called that. That's what the leaks and rumors were all about. This one actually, this is interesting. A lot of people have been saying that this is actually the next Mario Kart game, which we'll dive into that a little bit as well. We'll get a chance to see the docking station as well. Kind of all the same stuff that you know and love from the Switch, but just a little bit better. And we'll go into like what the specs have been revealed for this as well. In 2025, we're getting the release date, and it will also be backwards compatible, but not all games. Again, we'll talk about that also in this video when it comes to like why some games won't be backwards compatible. And April 2nd, we'll have the Nintendo Direct to get some more information on it, which is interesting because I think that's probably the one bit of leaked information from the Switch reveal leaks and stuff like that, is that a lot of people were expecting like a March release when it comes to the Switch 2. But it seems like they probably got that mixed up with maybe just the announcement itself. But yeah, after watching the trailer, I'm kind of seeing what people are talking about with it. Like it's like nothing really too crazy, right? Compare that to the original Switch reveal trailer. Like it's much more of an interactive thing. You see, just showcasing like what the Switch is all about, right? Like showcase you can take your game on the go, play on the TV with a controller like you're normally used to, but then he like docks it and then like walks away outside and can keep on gaming. Like such a cool thing that the Switch does. Now, like obviously, like it's the Switch 2. You know what it's all about. There really is no need to have like some kind of big flashy trailer for this. Really, just because like everyone knows what it is. It's just a Switch, but just performs better. But surprisingly has some downgrades compared to the newer versions of the Nintendo Switch, which we'll get into. Which a like and subscribe is always appreciated, but let's get right into those details. Looking on their website here, I'm actually rather surprised with the lack of information about the Switch. Like, yeah, we're gonna get the actual reveal like of everything on the 2nd of April. Makes sense there to kind of hold off that kind of information, but like a lot of the specs and stuff are already out there. People know like about the screen, about the performance, about the extra little button there that's on the controller, which we'll talk about as well. This is really the only bit of news that came with this, saying that yeah, you can play your Switch games on the Switch 2, but not all Switch games will be backwards compatible, which are like, oh my god, I spent all this money on these games for the past like what, 5, I don't know how many years it's been really, since 2017, right? That you're like, oh no, I can't really keep my whole library? Well, it seems to be much more specific or what games are going to be backwards compatible. This VGC article really kind of breaks down like what probably won't be backwards compatible for the Switch. Like they bring up examples here. They say in the Labo series of games on Switch requires a player to insert the Switch and its Joy-Cons into various cardboard creations. And since the Switch 2 Joy-Cons are different shape and than its predecessor, that's likely that this game won't work on Switch 2. And also some games might have some external peripherals that just won't work with Switch 2, and knowing Nintendo how they're just like, we're gonna just keep on doing our own thing, that kind of would line up. And while we don't have any official specs or information about how this little Switch 2 is going to perform, a VGC article does break down everything we know about the Switch 2, going into a little bit of that leaked information, which so far, like the people were leaking that it's going to release today for this trailer, and well, it did. So take it with a grain of salt, obviously, but a lot of this has been reported, corroborated, so I wouldn't say it's 100% true, but I would say have it as an expectation. Saying that the dock having the ability to upscale to 4K rather than just 1080p using DLSS2. But Digital Foundry does point out that we don't yet know whether the chip designated to power the Switch 2 has a deep learning accelerator components required for like a true DLSS, because we don't truly know, but I mean, it's out there. This next point's a little bit of a downgrade compared to modern Switches right here, saying that the Switch 2 could go back to using an LCD screen rather than an OLED panel, an attempt to just lower the cost of the whole thing. This is part of like a report from Bloomberg, which is a very credible source of information. I mean, that's Jason Schreier right there. We can say like there's an NVIDIA chip, 8 gigabytes of RAM, 64 gigabytes of storage, DLSS2 support, frame generation support, which for a Switch is going to be very important, 8-inch screen, and improved battery life. So kind of like I mentioned in my NVIDIA video that like the low-end spec stuff with all this AI and frame generation is going to be very beneficial to lower-end hardware, where high-end is not really going to see any benefit from that, where like a Switch 2 will greatly benefit from DLSS and frame generation. Now the connections that we saw for the Switch 2, right, rather than the rails that kind of click right in, it is magnetically held together with along with that port in there. So hopefully this magnet is strong enough, because I can imagine if you're taking the Switch and just kind of bending it, you could easily break that, right? Because say, for example, I'm using my Steam Deck here and I press down, that's downward pressure going that way, which doesn't look that secure when it comes to the new Switch. So I'm really curious how strong that magnetism is going to be, because if that pressure constantly keeps happening, it could put stress on that port, which then could make it break, which could be a very common issue. Given that hardware and potential frame generation in DLSS is probably where we saw the claims coming up, saying that new reports claim that the Switch 2 will have PS4 power, obviously with a catch being the frame gen and DLSS, so you probably get that performance rather than the actual like bits that will actually make it that powerful. You might have noticed also this little guy right here, that's a new button on the right side. People were starting to refer to this as like the C button, which remember the old Nintendo 64 days, you had your C buttons up there to kind of control things around. But a lot of people are speculating that this actually might be much more of a social feature kind of button that goes on with the Joy-Cons. Also, it looks like this is going to be the next Mario Kart game coming for the Switch, which should be coming there at launch. Makes sense, right? Because it actually is one of the highest selling games, if not actually the highest selling game on Switch, because Mario Kart 8 Deluxe so far has sold 64 million copies since as of September 24, which puts it ahead as like the largest selling game by far. I have like Animal Crossing, Super Smash Brothers, even Breath of the Wild or Super Mario Odyssey. So like Mario Kart, it prints money. You're going to have that there at launch. Now, apparently this trailer here is actually revealed at an awkward time, right? They didn't really say anything about it. They just want to let you know that, hey, it's out there and it's doing its thing. That it actually might be tied to external game announcements coming for the Switch, right? We've been hearing a lot of leaks and rumors about saying like Xbox titles coming to Switch. I mean, Phil Spencer has mentioned this previously, but specifically other games that like where you think would be like red line titles, as people have put it, right, for the Switch 2, specifically like saying Halo. And Jason Schreier backed this information up. Shout out to Rebs for taking the screenshot from Blue Sky, because I do not have the app. But saying, Jason Schreier said the saying, if you're wondering one reason to randomly drop a Switch 2 trailer 2.5 months ahead of the proper reveal would be to allow third-party companies to start officially announcing their games for the system. And what's one announcement place that's coming up very soon here? here, guys, that we're going to be live streaming here on the channel is the Developer Direct from Microsoft. And they've specifically mentioned they want to have more games on the Switch. Recent leaks and rumors suggest that like Gears of War, the Halo and Master Chief Collection, and various other titles could be going over to the Switch too to just get people to play that. Which, if you have Halo on Switch too, like at release, like, oh my gosh, that's gonna be huge. That's gonna be massive for Halo. Okay, this information is good and all, but how much is this Switch gonna actually cost me? Well, it's not officially revealed, but we have leaks and rumors about this stuff right here again with that Games Radar article talking about that, saying that like with the Switch OLED costing around $350 US. The Switch 2 price will in more regions be around $400, but saying nothing more than $500. So about an extra $100. I believe this is about $100 more than the original Switch release, which, I mean, with given inflation and this economy, right, you would expect the price to go up a little bit. But also, like for $400, that is actually kind of on par with other things. Mentioned here specifically, if you take a look at the Steam Deck OLED or the PlayStation Portal or the ROG Ally, that the $400 mark does seem pretty reasonable. And again, we've seen these leaks and rumors about pricing and all this kind of information over multiple locations, multiple sources. So this is like the worst kept secret in gaming. And of course, we will be covering the Switch Nintendo Direct here on April 2nd, guys. So if you guys want to catch that video when it does go live for that live stream, make sure to like and subscribe. If you guys made it this far in the video, I hope I earned your like maybe even a subscribe just off of this video alone. But if you're a real one, made it this far in the video, leave a green heart. Let me know who the real ones are out there in the comments. I appreciate you all. I see you. But anyway, guys, thank you all for watching. Greatly appreciate it. Catch you on the next one. Peace out.